everybody, Chris here. So is Dogecoin a good investment here in 2025? We're going to talk about that in this video. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel, hit that little notification bell too, so you can be notified when my videos come out, as well as when I do live streams, and I'm live most every day talking about Dogecoin. Also, the whole cryptocurrency market and finances, what's going on with the stock market and gold, it all plays together. However, with Dogecoin particularly, we know it's more risky than most other cryptocurrencies, but that gives you the chance for more gains as well. And I know a lot of you hold a lot of Dogecoin. Some are just figuring out, maybe dabbling or buying a little bit, and some of you are looking to buy more. So we're going to talk about all of that as well as the current news and charts in this video. So let's get to it. Let me show you what I'm looking at. And we start here looking at the current Dogecoin chart, which is just about 19.5 cents. Yes, Dogecoin dipped under 20 cents on yesterday, and it's looking to recover a bit, but I'm zoomed out a bit. I don't want to get too close to the current trading. We do that during our live streams, but right now I'm going to zoom out and look at the bigger picture and where Dogecoin is trading. And you'll see this purple rectangle here. A lot of people making fun of my purple boxes, but the purple box has a point here, because for about 19 days, Dogecoin has been trading in a sideways pattern with very, very low volume. And that is after the big flash crash that happened back on October 10th. But also to remember, this didn't just happen with Dogecoin though. We do see so many other cryptocurrencies went through the same thing back on October 10th with big wicks down and right back up and have been trading sideways. And there's a lot of cryptos that have been doing basically the same thing. So some are a little higher in the box, some are a little lower in the box, but they're all pretty much in this sort of 15% trading range up and down since we had that flash crash back there. So we talk a lot about that in the live streams as well. This is the current trading that we have now. It's kind of a wait and see mode that we've been talking about recently as well. We have the US government shutdown, waiting to see what happens. US-China trade deal, waiting to see what happens. That's going to be on Thursday. And we have today's FOMC, the Federal Reserve's, like, what are they going to do? Are they going to lower interest rates? We'll talk about that as well. But this is the overall current picture, just kind of trending sideways. That gets some people worried about Dogecoin's price, where it's going to go from here, which we've been talking about in the last few videos about bear market, this sort of sideways trading and uncertainty. But the potential for what Dogecoin is going to do is still there. I have a lot of other lines on my chart as well. And as we zoom out to the daily chart, you'll see that some of these lines, like the sloping dotted orange line, is showing a long-term support line. That it goes back to April 2025, where Dogecoin dropped down to 13 cents. And then you see these green boxes, and the green boxes show when Dogecoin starts trading upwards, more volatility, you have an increase in volume, and Dogecoin accelerates up and hits a high. Then typically what happens is Dogecoin then trades down lower. There's a lot of profit taking, there's shorting that happens on, etc. But we see that again and again here in July. Same thing happened. Dogecoin had settled down to about 15 cents and then came up to about 27, 28 cents and then settled back down to about 18, 19 cents. And then we had this nice move here in early September. Dogecoin came all the way over 30 cents before profit taking, etc., comes back down. So that is how Dogecoin trades. We are in an overall 4-year cycle. We talk a lot about the 4-year cycles in the live streams as well, and how Dogecoin trades overall in the bigger picture of cycles. We would think we're in the last couple months of that 4-year cycle and would expect November or December to be positive, but we also thought October was going to be positive too, and October has ended up being negative because of the big, what I call a flash crash, but it was a manipulation by Binance market makers driving price down taking out long leverage trades. We talk all about the leverage trading in more detail in the live streams as well. So here we are right now, right below 20 cents. Is this a good buying opportunity for Doge? And what's going on overall in the markets right now? Well, today, on this Wednesday, there is a Federal Reserve FOMC meeting, wondering whether there's going to be lowered interest rates. And if you look on my X account, X Twitter, I am at ChrisPax there. You'll see that this morning I took a screenshot from the CME FedWatch tool, and it's 99.9% pretty certain that there's going to be a 25 basis point rate cut. And then I also clicked on 10 December, looking at the next one, and there's another 85% chance of an additional 25 basis point rate cut. So the rate cuts are coming, which is generally good for businesses to be able to borrow more money, which is good for the markets to be able to expand. So generally that's good for the markets. Is it already priced in? Is it expected? We'll see. Will be an interesting day, and then I'll come on after the Fed meeting and have a live stream, and we'll talk about the aftermath of all the trading, because I'll be over on Tom Crown's channel in the chat during the rate cut announcement and Jerome Powell's statements and Q&A. I'll be there, and then I'll come on live after that this afternoon. So typically with rate cuts in a bull market, Crypto Rover says we haven't seen 2 negative periods following consecutive FOMCs. So the next phase should be bullish. So back in when we've had these different sort of 2 FOMC meetings that are in the red, then the price has exploded in the past. So we now have 2 consecutive FOMCs in the red. We may see an explosion in price coming up. That would be the pattern if it continues. We talk a lot about gold. Gold has hit a new all-time high here in 2025 and has pulled back down below $4,000. It's a little bit up this morning. And there's still some uncertainty, and when there's uncertainty in the markets, gold is the safe haven. So we'll see how that trades as sort of these things get ironed out. For gold, we would expect when gold starts trading down like it did in 2020, Bitcoin traded up. So there was a rotation that happened. There hasn't been a complete rotation yet. Bitcoin has come up from the 107, 108 level to about 113 right now, and it's kind of in this decision point on Bitcoin, and typically how Bitcoin trades, so does Doge. But once Bitcoin starts going more vertical, going up, Dogecoin goes at a higher percentage. Whenever we see the green in the market and things are going up, Dogecoin typically trades at a higher percentage up than Bitcoin. However, when the markets are red and they're going down, Bitcoin doesn't drop as much as Dogecoin does, and that is the volatility of Dogecoin over Bitcoin. Ash Crypto says, look, the CME gap hasn't filled yet, and we were looking at that again during the last couple live streams. So the CME gap from this week's opening has been partially filled. A bounce is likely once the gap has fully closed. The bottom of that is at like 111.2. We looked at that on the charts in detail yesterday. And these don't always have to fill. Now, the last one did before that, but the one way back down at 94,000 a couple months back, that one never filled. So they don't have to fill, but it gives people something to talk about. Filling the CME gap. We'll be watching. Again, on a Wednesday afternoon in FOMC, we could have volatility, and Bitcoin could come down to that 111.2 with a wick, just like we saw back here in October, earlier, a few weeks ago, when we saw that dip, closing that gap. So it'll be interesting to see whether this time it fills. So what's happening with Doge? Well, zooming in, we are in an upward trend. And I showed that on my chart just previously on the Doge chart. And we're now on the bottom of this sloping ascending channel. So are we going to bounce off of that, or are we going to continue sideways? We'll be watching that Also, hidden bullish divergence with a higher low on the price chart, but a lower low on the RSI, or relative strength index, is what they call hidden bullish divergence. And that typically means, particularly with the stochastic RSI crossing over here, that we could have the setup for prices moving higher. Also, on the RSI and on the 1 hour chart, so zoomed in a little more, we are now seeing this sort of oversold position with the dip in Dogecoin below 20 cents here, down in the 19s, that the RSI dips down into oversold territory, which then leads to price moving back up, which we have seen the last 2 times earlier this month. Now we also have one additional, is the decision point, right? I show the purple box. Trader tardigrade here has this symmetrical triangle where Doge is kind of narrowing down into this sort of decision point here. Where is Doge going to go next, right? We've been talking about that for the past number of days as the markets are in this wait and see mode. This article talks about Dogecoin trading exploding, but price remains flat despite $2 billion in volume. And I'm like, well, again, we zoom out and the volume at 2 billion right here per day isn't really a lot, because we've seen much more trading volume up higher in the $6 to $7 billion range. And when we want a real price explosion, we would like to see Dogecoin trading in like 10 billion. It almost did that on the flash crash. We don't want to see it on the red candles down, though. We want to see it on the green candles up. We want to see that volume tick up. But since October 10th, the volume has been dying off. Everybody's kind of in this wait and see mode for Dogecoin. So, is Dogecoin a good investment right now? How about $500? Would you like to put $500 into Dogecoin, with Dogecoin price trading around 20-21 cents, showing renewed strength after weeks of volatility? Everything's really quiet right now. Dogecoin is under 20 cents. Maybe think that 20 cents is a good line in the sand between fear and greed, right? So we're neutral right now on the fear and greed index, right in the middle. In fact, we're about 48, 47 now because Dogecoin is below 20 cents. Right now, that seems to be where that line is. But what's coming forward, right? We've got developments influencing Dogecoin. One of them is institutional interest. We have one ETF, which is now trading, but that's this Rex Osprey kind of B level. We need the big ones with Grayscale and Bitwise to start trading. We have these Canary Capital other ETFs, like Solana, Hedera, Litecoin. They have started trading. We hear an XRP ETF is getting ready to trade, and we know Dogecoin is close as well. That is some institutional interest in Doge, which is interesting. We also talk about a lot of other things being built with Doge, with the House of Doge and their relationships, partnering with other companies, growing out sort of Dogecoin's visibility, and whether that then goes through such pay and more adoption, we'll be watching, as well as the Doge OS, which is the app layer for Dogecoin, which is in its beta testing testnet phase and is about to launch, with games and other utilities being built on the Dogecoin blockchain. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. Doge, priced right around 20 cents, let's say. So a $500 investment would get you about 2,500 coins. Right now, with Doge at about 19.5, you'd actually get more than that if you buy Doge now. But remember, Doge has high volatility, as we showed on the charts. It can go up really fast, but it can also drop down really fast. If you are not able to handle a volatility of a coin like Doge, you probably should not invest in it. If you're worried about the price of Dogecoin, that means you're probably overexposed and you've bought too much. So I like to say, have a diversified portfolio. Having a little Doge in your portfolio, I think, is a good idea. I have at times had a lot more Dogecoin, and I've profited from that. I'm still holding quite a bit of Dogecoin, waiting to see what happens through the rest of 2025, and we'll see how that goes forward. I will always hold some Doge, though, in my portfolio. I'm never going to sell it all because big things are being built right now for Dogecoin, and I think Dogecoin has a big future, including adoption. This adoption of Doge continues to point to more upside in the future. Risk, though, again, the risk factors are always there for something like Doge. And cryptocurrency overall, Doge just seems to be more volatile than a lot of other cryptocurrencies, unless you get way out on the degen side, right, of of crypto. But, you know, for a portfolio and strategy, right, maybe deploying $500 into Doge, it's a high-risk position in an overall portfolio, but something you may want to expose yourself to. So if you're comfortable with high risk, you're looking for speculative exposure, maybe $500 in Doge could be justified as part of a broader risk budget. Buyers seeking steadier returns or less exposure to risk should limit their capital allocation, consider more diversified alternatives. You can have some gold, you can have some bonds, right? You can have some Bitcoin, stocks, but how about a little Doge too? So let me know in the comments below, what do you think about having some exposure to Dogecoin and where you think this Dogecoin market may be going for those that are a little more experienced, have been holding Doge for a while. Give the video a like if you haven't already. Please subscribe to my channel. I appreciate the support. We'll see you next time.